Hi everyone. Today we are going to see the topic rainwater harvesting in the course name of environmental studies. So first see about the general introduction about the rainwater harvesting. Actually rainwater harvesting is a main process of conservation of water. So the rainwater is a process of collecting and storing rainwater for later use instead of letting it run off. It is an ancient and sustainable method used to conserve water, especially in regions facing water scarcity. So this is technique usually found in the Asia and African countries arises from practice employed by the Asian civilization within these regions and still serve as a major source for the drinking water and also groundwater. So commonly used systems constructed for three principles and name is the catchment area, collection devices and conveyance system. So now in the present scenario, management and distribution of water has been centralized. So people will demand on the government system and which result in the distributions of the community participation in the water management. But on the other side, why the rainwater harvesting is important? Because it will reduces the water bills, decreases dependence on the on groundwater, minimize the soil erosion and flooding, improves the groundwater levels, and it is environmentally sustainable. And here the some of the methods of rainwater harvesting: rooftop rainwater harvesting, surface runoff harvesting, recharge pits and wells. So, and also some of the technological needs and studies need to be carried out to assess the present status and also suggest sustainable mitigative measures for rival traditional wisdom. The living creations of the universe made the five basic elements like earth, water, fire, water, air, and sky. Obviously, water is one of the most important element, and no creatures can survive without it. So, how these water has been used? So, it is has been used in an extended way. So, the history of rainwater harvesting in Asia has been traced back about 9th and 10th century. The small scale collections of rainwater from roof and simple brush dam constructions will be seen in the South and Southeast Asia. Usually, rainwater collections from the eaves of the roofs. It's a simple gutters is a traditional jazz is a simple method, but it has been started about 2000 years in the Thailand. A thin layer of red clays at the bottom of the ponds and minimize the seepage losses. Trees, plants, and ponds helps to minimize the evaporate from the ponds. So, what will be the basic components? Why we want to harvest rainwater means, as said before, to arrest the groundwater decline and augment groundwater table, to benefit the water quality in the aquifers, and to reduce the soil erosion and to inculcate the culture of water conservation. How we harvest the rainwater? So there are main two ways where we can collect this rainwater and harvest this rainwater in a simple way even in our home itself. The surface runoff harvesting and the rooftop rainwater harvesting. So the surface runoff harvesting is been seen in the urban area. Rainwater flows away as a surface runoff. So this could be catched in a better way and recharging aquifers by adopting appropriate methods. So the rooftop rainwater harvesting, that is RTRWH, it is a system of catching the rainwater from the roof where the water is dropped like this. So the continuous thinking will be there and there will be a rainwater well will be there where we can store this rainwater in efficient methods. What will be the precautionary measures which we followed for harvesting the rainwater? First, the roofs and terrace uses for the harvesting should be clean. So clean rooftop and filter regulation should be there. We want to choose the non-toxic materials for the tanks, and we want to use the mosquito-proof lids and screens, and we want to have the provision of the first rain separator should be made with the flush of first rains. Ensure overflow mechanisms for the tank. We should not pollute the water with the recharge groundwater. And groundwater will be recharged by the rainwater. Before recharging, suitable arrangements of filtering should be provided. So the filter media should be cleaned before every monsoon season. And some of the catchments area where we can catch the rainwaters means, so the rooftops through the over pipes, screens, first flush filters tanks should be there. At the end of the dry season and just before first shower of the rain is anticipated, the storage tank should be clean and it should be maintained properly and should be scrubbed and flushed off all the sediments and Let's see about the advantages of rainwater harvesting. So rainwater harvesting technologies are very simple to install and to operate also. So even the small illiterate peoples also can easily train with this type of technologies, and the construction materials are also readily available in the market. So this rainwater harvesting is a convenient method, and it is very sensible to provide the water at a point of consumption, and the family members have full control of their own system. So this will generate the overall operation in a many minor way and doesn't have any maintenance problems also. So the cost of this type of constructions will be very low, and it is very negligible also. So the water collected from these roof catchments is also acceptable quality of the domestic purposes like washing, cleaning, irrigation purposes and all. And the collected water should be existing structures, not specially constructed for this particular purpose. And the government also insisting these type of rainwater harvesting in each and every buildings. Even though it is a commercial building or domestic building, these rainwater harvesting construction should be there. And what will be the main advantages of rainwater harvesting is, first is it reduces the water bills. As we know, rainwater is very free and used for non-drinking purposes, and we can use it for toilet flushing, gardening, washing, and we can cut out the municipal drinking water usages for these such purposes. And also we can conserve the groundwater. So this will reduce the dependency on the groundwater and helps in recharging the aquifers, especially in areas where the depleting water tables. And also it will prevent the water wastages. Instead of letting rainwater run off into the drains and drainages and getting wasted, these stores will harvest the rainwater and it can be used for the very useful purposes. And this particular rainwater will reduces the flooding and soil erosion. So this will be helpful in the case of agriculture. By capturing the rainwater, especially during the heavy rains, it will reduce the surface runoff and it will prevent the soil erosion so that the nutrition of the soil will be maintained. Next, these rainwaters is very much suitable for the irrigation purposes, and this rainwater can be continuous source will used as a water supply for the both agriculture and also for the domestic purposes. The harvested rainwater is ideal for watering plants, lawns, and crops, reducing the need of the treated municipal waters. And rainwater is naturally a pure water, and it is will have a soft and low in minerals, making it ideal for washing and cleaning. With proper filtration, it can be even used for the drinking purposes also. And this rainwater harvesting is a sustainable water management system which reduces a strain on the local water supply and helps to adapt the climate change impacts. So depending upon the household capacity and needs, both the water collected and the storage capacity may be increased as the within the available catchment area. Why this particular rainwater harvesting is much needed? Because the surface water is inadequate to meet our demand and we have to depend on the groundwater. So when we keep on harvesting the groundwater, automatically what will happen? There will be a depletion in the water level, and that will leads to the drought of the conditions. So environmental changes will be there. Automatically, the groundwater level will be declined. That will lead to the augment groundwater table. So to beneficiate the water quality in the aquatic bodies and to reduce the soil erosion, due to the rapid urbanization, the infiltration of rainwater into the subsoil has decreased drastically and recharging of groundwater has diminished. For example, in Bangalore, get most of its drinking water for the distance of 95 kilometers and depth of 500 meters. So this shows the water scarcity and the importance of rainwater harvesting. For example, this particular slide denotes the when there is a rain in a city, first we can catch this rainwater in a rooftop. Landscape streets like small stone drain parks where the waters can be catched. The major storm water drains can be found out. And then all the catched water can be filtered and treated. Then it can be sent to the storage purposes or for the groundwater recharge, soil moisture and enhancement, and we can store it in the lakes and tanks also. So these are the component of rooftop rainwater harvesting methods. First is the catchment area. So next is the conduits. Third one will be filters and the storage facility. So when we are taking this particular home construction, first the catchment area is the rooftop. So the open area will catch most of the rain which is on the particular area, and then it will be passed through a pipeline. Then we are making it to the filter area. Then the particular water will be stored in the tanks. Either we can use ppg plastic water tanks, or some other metal things, and it should be cleaned and it should be used. So this is a rainwater separator and with a sand filter. So this is the first flush where the particular water can be filtered. And every roof in a city can be a catchment area. So whether it is a commercial building or a own domestic purposes building, so the roof top will be the catchment area where the large area of the rainwater will be collected. So when we collected, when we are going for the monsoon season, so the roof should be clean, and the pipeline and the tank, everything should be clean, so that not more of the filtration process is needed here. So only the less amount of water. So the next is surface runoff harvesting. So the harvesting of the surface runoff and storage of the same into the reservoirs such as water ponds make it available and used when it is required. So the surface runoff harvesting is a process of collecting rainwater that flows over the land, such as for roads, pavements, fields, etc. And it is stored or diverted it for the later use for the government groundwater recharge. And how this surface groundwater harvesting is works means, when rain falls, water does not soak into the ground, become surface runoff. Instead of letting it flow into the drains or rivers or going to the waste thing, it can be collected in tanks, ponds, or reservoirs, or it can be directed to the percolation pits, recharge wells and trenches, and refill the groundwater. What will be the components of surface water harvesting system? So it will also have the catchment area, open areas like roads, parks, divers and farmlands, drains and channels, gates, runoff to the collection recharge area, and sedimentation tank will be there. So it will settle down the sands and debris and pollutants. And last, it will go to the storage tank and the our recharge pit. There, the clean water is stored, and it will be percolate into the ground. What will be the advantages and what will be the uses of surface groundwater harvesting is, so it will reduces the urban flooding and waterlogging in the city area. So this will also prevent the erosion by controlling excess flow, helps to recharge groundwater, makes uses of large open spaces, can store water for the irrigation and industrial purposes. So where this particular rainwater harvesting is used, means it can be used in the urban areas like roads, parks and parking lots, and for the domestic purposes, and for the agriculture purposes and industrial and commercial zones can be used. Even it can be used in the schools and college campuses with the large open grounds, and this will increases the groundwater supply. So we can imagine with the example like, imagine a school with a big playground. During rain, instead of letting the water drain off the channels which is directed to a pond or soak pit, automatically the water can be used for the guarding and recharging the groundwater. Okay, so this will be helpful in increasing the groundwater, and also it we can use this rainwater for the domestic purposes also. And for conclusion, this particular rainwater harvesting things, so this is the best way to solve the water burning facing issues. That is, the world is facing the water crisis and also the scarcity of the water. So this will be meet out with the rainwater harvesting methods, and this is a very useful in large scale of applications. So saving these type of renewable resources will be energy lifting work, and this will uh, regenerate the well and also the water bodies, and it will save the water bills. The harvested waters can be used for the daily household needs. So this will more the business and industry involved, the greater environmental and economic benefits will be there. And this rainwater harvesting will saves water, money and also the environment. And the government has implemented many projects on the rainwater harvesting methods, and this will be helpful in saving the water which is a very renowned. So as we talking about the rainwater harvesting, said there are responsibility of individuals in the rainwater harvesting. So the rainwater harvesting is not just a responsibility of a government or organizations. It should start from individual effort. Here, some of the tips where every person can play a meaningful role. First is they want to install a rainwater harvesting system, and if we want to maintain that particular system, not alone installing a system, if we want to maintain that particular system by cleaning the rooftop gutters and filters, and we want to use this water very wisely and efficiently, and also we want to educate and inspire others by following these type of things, and we can spread the awareness about the importance of the rainwater harvesting system in the community, schools and online, and we can conserve the open spaces, we can follow the local regulations, and it is very mandatory in the thing, and we can support the community projects and by volunteering in the community rainwater harvesting system, urban greening programs, and we can help maintain the public water collection points, tanks or recharge areas. And to summarize these things, we can collect, maintain, educate, conserve, comply and support. And rainwater harvesting is a noble goal, and it is a common person's responsibility.